Well, let me get this out of the way right from the start. I think Pocahontas is a masterpiece, a 10 out of 10 in its own right, in its own lane, in its own artistic purpose. This film absolutely deserves the praise that it never got. I think it has like a 6.5 on IMDb, which is ridiculous. This movie is beautiful. It's very emotional. That is the best part of this movie. Musically, it is awesome. Great numbers, great songs. Visually, it looks really good. And I know a lot of people don't like the way it looks. But honestly, this is Disney's most underrated projects ever, I think. So, in Pocahontas, we basically follow this woman, this girl, Pocahontas, of course, and she's basically a historical figure, or at least loosely based on a historical figure. But the movie is very clearly a Disney fantasy interpretation, of course, designed to bring themes of love and connection and peace and nature to a younger audience, bring it to the big screen and have everybody enjoy this movie. So we follow Pocahontas, who is a Native American, and she meets John Smith, an English settler who arrives there. And then, of course, tensions rise between the settlers and the native inhabitants. And the film explores basically a clash of cultures, prejudices. Did I say that right? Prejudices. Yeah, that's right. Okay, sorry about that. And ultimately, the need to overcome hate with empathy. That's basically what this movie is about. That's what the underlying story, um, the underlying emotion of this movie really is. So, is it historically perfect? No, of course not. But let's be honest. How many of us really know what the original story was about? No one. So, maybe we shouldn't bitch about it. And emotionally, it is super powerful. And at the heart of this movie, this is a story about listening, about understanding, and connecting with people, and not just judging them by their differences. That is an amazing message. That is a universal message. And how awesome is it that you can deliver that message so well in a animated movie, in a cartoon, basically? That is awesome. First of all, let's talk about the music. I mean, the soundtrack is honestly one of Disney's best ever. I mean, I like Aladdin, I like Lion King, I like all these 90s Disney movies. And yes, they don't make them like that anymore. I know. And yeah, that's unfortunate. But this movie, the songs, they're not just catchy. I mean, all of them are catchy, but all of them are moving. I like every song in this movie, and they are even in my Spotify playlist. And the ones that I have is "Just Around the River Band," of course, and "The Colors of the Wind." And I looked it up there. I looked it up in my Spotify, and it's Judy Cohn who sings it, and she has this amazing voice. It's my gives me goosebumps every time I listen to these songs. So just around the river band, it's the perfect adventure anthem, a song about choosing your path, embracing the unknown, and trusting your heart. That is great. And then Colors of the Wind, I think that is for most people the song of the movie. And for me, it's also one of the most emotionally meaningful songs, not only for Disney, but ever written. If you listen to it, it's poetic, it's philosophical, and it hits you in the chest every time, at least for me. I'm not gonna lie, when I put this song on, when Judy, when she's singing, when she hits that high pitch, for some reason, I always get tears in my eyes. It's silly, but it's true. And then, of course, one of the badass songs called "Savages." It's incredibly powerful. It's bold. It's intense commentary, basically on prejudice and fear. And I think that's somewhat rare for a Disney musical to go that hard, isn't it? I think so. So the songs aren't just filler. They actually tell a story. They build the emotional core of the movie and they stick with you. And the animation, yes, I get it. I get it. It feels a little bit off the way it's drawn. I get it. The faces and the style of the trees and the skies. Yeah, I get what people are saying, but it's not bad. It's artistic. It's not goofy or exaggerated. It's atmospheric. It's layered with symbolism, I think. I mean, the swirling leaves, the flowing water, the crazy dramatic skies. That's intentional visual storytelling, I think. And hear me talking about this. That's hilarious. Disney went for emotion over realism in this movie, and it pays off. And I get it that people say, well, it looks a bit off, but it's not looking off. It's different visually. It has a meaning behind it, I think. I mean, I think, of course. And the shots in this movie are really stunning. You know, when Pocahontas is standing on the cliff with the wind spiraling around her hair, and Grandmother Willow glowing under the moonlight, and the silent animal reaction shots. That's awesome. That's iconic imagery. That's what that is. And of course, this movie has one of the funniest Disney sidekicks. And I am a sucker. I have a sweet spot for, you know, cartoon animals with personality. And in Pocahontas, we get Miko, who is a raccoon, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And Miko is absolutely one of the funniest Disney sidekicks. His humor is physical and expressive. It doesn't feel forced. I mean, he's chaotic in the best way possible. He doesn't speak, but the way he's acting on screen, oh my God, can't get enough of this guy. Honestly, he has more personality than half of the characters in modern animated movies, I think. Just to give you an example, we have this scene where Pocahontas is standing on a cliff and she's jumping off the cliff into the water. Like it's really high, it's a long way down. And then we have Miko standing there and he's like, "Oh yeah, you did that. I'm gonna do that as well." And he just he runs up to the cliff and he jumps too real gracefully, and then midway he looks at the water and he's like, oh shit, this is really high, and he panics and he just basically belly flops into the water. It's hilarious. And we have this moment where we have this fierce warrior Kokuam, and he's putting on this paint on his chest, so he's puffing out his chest, and Miko is basically copying what Kokwam is doing. So he's also using the paint and puts it on his chest, and he's puffing out his chest, and it's so comical. It's hilarious. It's adorable. So Miko is the MVP of this movie for sure. And every character in this movie is really good, I think. Maybe the only one that is less good is maybe the villain. But we get Pocahontas. Pocahontas herself is a fantastic character. She's actually really calm and wise, but also curious and really brave. And I think she's really different than any of the other Disney princesses that we've gotten over the years. And the way she's acting, um, I think she's actually worthy of that Disney princess title. She would make a great ruler. She would be a great princess or queen in the future, right? I think that's something I haven't seen in many of those Disney movies with all these princesses. They all always seem really immature, but I don't think Pocahontas is in the same league. I think she's way up. And then we have John Smith, who is really grounded and mature, and they didn't make him this awkward, goofy stereotype. He feels naturally, and the chemistry between them works. It feels believable. And what I didn't know was that he's voiced by Mel Gibson. I just found that out recently. So, yeah, go figure. And then Grandmother Willow, who is a willow, basically a talking tree. And, we're talking wisdom here and comfort and also a little bit of comic relief wrapped into one character. And yeah, I think the characters are really good. But the best part of this movie is the theme or the themes and the messages. And this film didn't go for safe adventure fluff, I think. It went straight for, well, pretty heavy themes actually for a Disney movie, just a movie in general. It works on themes and messages like empathy, tolerance, understanding, communication, respect for each other, respect for nature, having to choose peace over violence, choosing what is right over what you want to do, what your heart is telling you. And I think those themes are presented beautifully. When we get Grandmother Willow, who's telling Pocahontas, listen with your heart, that hits in a way that I think most Disney films don't. And the moment when Pocahontas stops the battle, basically the war that is starting, she throws herself between Smith and her father, who's basically going to execute Smith. And she chooses peace, and it actually matters in the movie. It changes the whole outcome of the movie. So this isn't a shallow movie. It's actually a very meaningful movie, and I like that. And I mean, for me, I think the only downside of this movie is maybe the villain, kinda, sorta, but nothing too crazy really. But some people get hung up on the idea that this movie wasn't historically accurate. I think they wanted a documentary, but I don't get it. Why? I mean, it's Disney. This is a movie made for families and children. It's not a classroom textbook. And there's controversy, yeah, about representation. I mean, I think they're off. I think the movie handled it respectfully. It's not mocking anybody. It's not mocking anything. It's not degrading anybody or anything. I think it's doing what Disney does best, adapting folklore and history into a story about emotion and connection. How can you hate on that? And back in the day when I was younger, I didn't really get the movie. But now that I'm older, I look at this movie and I see the themes and I see the underlying message, and I think it's really beautiful. And a lot of people, I think, don't get Pocahontas. Not when it came out, and maybe still not. This isn't a big goofy comedy. It's not Aladdin. You know, it's not this drama like The Lion King. This movie is more quiet and more thoughtful. It's more poetic. And I don't know why, but I think people dismiss this movie a little bit because of it. I mean, look at the rating online, like a 6.5. That's ridiculous. And when I'm older, and looking back at this movie, watching it again, I think it's actually a very special movie. Like I said, the songs "Colors of the Wind," Pocahontas racing to stop the war, all of it's just done, really well. And I think this movie deserves more respect and more appreciation and recognition. I think so. But yeah, I mean, I get it. It's not the most popular Disney film. It's not Aladdin. It's not The Lion King. It's not Toy Story. Is Toy Story Disney? No, that's Pixar. So yeah, I mean, I get it. It's not one of those movies, but it's one of their most beautiful movies. I think it's very touching and poetic. It feels very mature. The music works. It's really emotional. That's why you got to watch this movie, because it has a lot of soul and emotion to it. Very heartfelt. And I don't think there are many movies that hit you visually that well, musically that well, and also emotionally that well, and all at the same time. But Pocahontas does all of those things. So for me, it's a masterpiece in its own style, and I think it's one of the most underrated works of Disney. So 10 out of 10 for me. Hope you enjoyed my review. Hope it was useful, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.